Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the True Life Podcast on this new year. I hope you have found a way to redefine the things you love in your life and they're coming true. Got a great guest and a great show for you today. The one and only curandero Gabriel. Prepare to embark, ladies and gentlemen. I would like everyone to prepare to embark. We're not going to embark yet, but prepare to do so. Prepare to embark on a profound journey of consciousness as we welcome a truly remarkable guest to our podcast, Reverend Gabriel Castillo, a gifted mushroom facilitator. His initiation by Taino curanderos. Did I say that right? Is it Taino or how do you pronounce
That's correct.
that?
That's correct. Taino.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taino, I love it, man. We're starting off right. It has cultivated a deep connection with the sacred teachings and ancient traditions surrounding the mushroom. Gabriel's expertise extends beyond clinical approaches as he seamlessly navigates the realms of consciousness with the venerable ally. His role as a guide in this transformative space is marked by a commitment to authenticity and an intricate understanding of the mushroom's properties. With a tailored protocol crafted for each journeyer, Gabriel ensures that the sacred mushroom experience is not just transformative, but also safe and profoundly healing. Curandero Gabriel, thank you for being here today, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure.
Yeah,
it's my pleasure, man. You know,
Yeah.
I've always found that when possible, it's nice to start at the beginning. And so I thought maybe we could flesh it out a little bit. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about who you were before you became who you are today.
I was always who I am. I just didn't know it.
Now, well said.
Yeah, man. The journey started after, I'll call it how it is. I had a best friend, very close friend of mine, pass away. He committed suicide. And I was in college at that time playing football, full of ego, full of myself. And that's when I started to dabble with mindfulness. It was always impregnated in my mind that mindfulness was something to tap into, the energy that is all around us. There was something there, but it was too esoteric for me to truly comprehend. And I didn't think it was any value because I was about, hey, you got to be this type of person to do this and leave this way and then to make X type of money. So what I did was I went into my own mind. During this time, I fell into a deep depression. I was depressed. I started to question everything. I started to question society and the illusions that we're all walking through. I would look outside my window in college and I would see everyone going to parties. I would see just a bunch of ants moving around and not knowing where they were going or why they were even going there, if that makes sense. And during that time is when I started to sit with psychedelics. And when I would sit with psychedelics, it was LSD at first. And when I would take the LSD, I would do it very intentionally. I would sit with myself in a room, watching some nature on the background, but I'd be listening to philosophers like Alan Watts explain these esoteric concepts, right? That he does it so elegantly because when he explains it, you can feel it. His words are just put you there. But with the medicine included, it was like boundaries were being abolished and the layer of onions on myself was shedding, right? I was shedding my layers and I was questioning. But as I was questioning, I was very grounded at the same time because in particular, Alan Watts was very grounding for me. He helped me navigate through the illusion with peace and understand the energy of everything, the connection esoterically, right? Linguistically. And that was a very, very powerful foundation because it showed me that there was something else to the mind. There's something else that could be tapped into that we were never taught. So that's when I was graduating and I decided, okay, instead of going into the rat race and just getting lost into this illusion, I wanted to go tap into my mind. I wanted to figure out how to reprogram it. I saw that I was programmed for the life I was living. And I didn't want that because it wasn't bringing happiness. I was wearing a mask, And when I would speak like that to other people, they would understand, but I can see the glaze fall over their eyes, right? So I knew, okay, this was something that I had to journey with. I had to go in, I had to do on my own and not really care about the world around me. And that's where Finally Detached was born. Finally Detached was an idea. It was an idea that was implanted by these philosophers who came before. But I decided, instead of just listening and trying to integrate this into my life, how do I create a life path that I am the creator? I'm not following dogma. I'm not trapped in some illusion. I'm creating my ecosystem, my own little atmosphere with the beliefs that are most meaningful to me. And that's where Finally Detached essentially came from. The process of going through life and the roller coaster of ups and downs, and questioning, is this the right path, or should I be, in the matrix working because I see all these people getting ahead, and I'm like, man, what if I'm wrong? What if I don't? What if this isn't? What if all these questions, right? And that's when I fell across another philosopher who took me, shall I say, it's very interesting to speak about, because Alan Watts was the foundation that was needed for me to be grounded. Okay. Sure. When it comes to working with some of these plant medicines, they can take you to a place where they go beyond the deepest meditation. They go into visuals. They go into deep innate feelings. They go into the space of being able to answer your questions. Now, I did the work to be able to get my mind, my consciousness, if you will, to a place where I was ready to ask the right questions. It wasn't just going in for some artificial reason. I wanted answers to some deep stuff. And that's when I stumbled across the mushroom. The mushroom was very different from LSD. It wasn't artificial. It had a spirit to it. And it had an energy, a consciousness to it, that it took an awareness and it took a skill to be able to navigate it. Now, sitting with the LSD and sitting with the philosophers and listening and looking at the world and really sitting and integrating all that in myself was such a base foundation to be able to receive these deeper downloads. And I'm speaking fast in terms of what this journey was, but that was about a 10-year period, a 10-year period of constantly caring about my mind and questioning everything and not giving myself up to anything. So I was gathering all this information, this data from the world around me. I saw through all of it. I understood about the foods, how the foods are poisoned, how, we're programmed through TV. It's called television programming. It's just, it all came so clear. And then I would ask, why doesn't anyone see this? Why don't they understand what's right in front of their face? And during this whole time, that's where, I wasn't a reverend yet, right? But I started to see the connection between the spirituality and the religions. And I was questioning everything to the point where, okay, how is it that I can look out at the world and it's essentially reflecting what was in the Bible, and I'm detached from all of it. So I'm like, wait a minute, is this real? Is this really real, or is this part of their programming that they created a long time ago to keep us in a construct? So like, I was deep questioning everything, didn't believe in anything. I needed to grasp and mold and move around it. And during that time is when, with that clarity, brought the ability to hear and become interested enough to dive deep into the mushroom with Terence McKenna. I heard of Terence McKenna. He was speaking about the mushroom and about the possibility of what it is. Now, these were things that were very curious to me, because as I was waking up and grounded with the awareness of Alan Watts, I was very interested in aliens, and I was very interested in all this other stuff, right? And Terrence was the first to say, inner space is exactly like outer space. So if you want to go to outer space, go deeper within. So, and it was started to connect all these teachings, because I was like, oh, as above, so below, the magic behind everything, the books that I read, okay, it all started to connect, and I started to see, wow, there's something energetic here. There's a knowledge here that hasn't been tapped into, that you can't read from a book, that you have to be in a place where you're ready to receive it. And I approached this medicine out of curiosity, like a scientist. I was like, oh, whatever, let me just do it. I did a bunch of medicines in college, bunch of psychedelics, LSD, mushrooms even back then, but not with this awareness. So he planted a seed. I went into it with that awareness, and lo and behold, this thing spoke. Whatever. It wasn't an outside voice. It was my own mind, right? The Jiminy Cricket, that consciousness that's inside, that deeper, right? It was as if I was asking questions and it was answering, but it wasn't me. It was this medicine, this consciousness behind it. Now, the first journey I had was a 10-gram journey, dried on an empty stomach of penis envies. So it was very, very potent. It was, it killed me. I died. And that was the goal of it. I had no fear. The whole working, and with Alan Watts, I fully came to terms with death as an illusion. Even though I may fear it, even though we may have feelings about it, I am okay with the disconnect, the detachment from it, because once it happens, it's not there. So there's nothing to fear. So I didn't care if I lost myself. I didn't care if I lost my mind. I wanted answers. So there was a level of fear that was just disintegrated. And because that wasn't there, that wall, that barrier, energetically, subconsciously, I was able to get this download from the mushroom sooner than later. It's because I did the work to not believe in anything, not give myself up to anything, be open to everything, but to be grounded at the same time. So it was a very funny combination that my life journey kind of moved me to. But that journey, man, it brought me back to my best friend who committed suicide. It showed me that I wasn't over that, right? So there was stuff to process. I had the tears to go through that. I had to, all the knowledge about, dude, what you have to eat, that they're poisoning the food, all of this. It's like, you can learn it, you can read about it, and you can know it internally, but are you living it? And that's when it became so clear. I needed to live what I knew. And the whole time I was scared to live what I knew because I didn't want to be wrong. And that's when the journey started. Like, I would say the journey started in college, but no, that was all groundwork to get my mind to a place where I was grounded, where I was mindful, where I knew meditation, I knew yoga, I knew how to program my mind with affirmations. I did the hypnotherapy. It was all ingrained inside of me. I listened to all the teachers. I started to see, okay, this is the spirituality behind money. Money's not evil. Money's a flow. It's an energy. Like, everything started to make sense. So I needed to ground myself and integrate all this stuff before I could really receive the benefit of the mushroom. And mushroom is what, let's just say, I was never a religious person, but the awakening came from the medicine because it showed itself. And it answered all the questions. All the dots connected, from aliens to all of it. It was no longer seeking and looking and trying to visualize something. It was here. It's here for all of us. It's been here. The invasion already happened. It's below our feet. It's mycelium. It's magic. And if you have the awareness to tap into that, it's going to know it's as smart. It's smarter than you. When you take it, it takes you. So it's learning you as much as you're trying to learn it. It knows you. It knows your deepest, darkest fears. It knows what you hate. It knows what you love. So it works with you. And that's what the journey was like for me. It was this constant growing a relationship with a medicine. And because of the teachers that I really listened beforehand, they helped me get to a place where I can stay grounded with the deep insights that came. And now I'm so grounded where I'm not a fanatic about it. You may feel the same about yourself, but like I know that I know, but I don't need anyone else to see me as a knower. You understand? Like I am very much content that I can die an old man, happy, alone on a hillside, because I know the jewels, the spirituality, the connection, the source. The source. Because if we take it way back, it's how did our minds grow? What was the missing link? We're still looking for the missing link. For me, I went deep into ceremony, and the mushroom was like, you're looking at me. The monkey ate the mushroom. How the hell do you think its mind grew? Where did all this come from? Where did the connections come from? Everything we see is like you're trying to fix something that I created. So you can't fix it without me. If you're trying to fix it outside of this consciousness, it's not going to work, because you're not going to understand what I am. And what that thing is deep. It's deep. It's not from this world. It's not from here, but I can speak about these things and it might seem crazy, or and I'm such a grounded person. I am not a religious fanatic, even though I'm a reverend. That's because I came in contact with a medicine and I got the message for myself of what it is. I didn't need to share it with anyone. I shared with some. They thought I was crazy as hell. Even my best friend, I had a journey with him, and they think I'm so crazy. But it was deep within my heart, a deep knowing. When you know, you know. I stumbled across a documentary that was banned. A banned documentary through some random site. It was hard to watch. I had to jump through loops, essentially. But it was explaining how magic mushrooms could possibly be the source of all religion. Or shall I say the source of the Abrahamic faiths. And this video is incredible because it just put into picture and into words everything I experienced. And it was basically explaining how it's weird to talk about, but how we can, you speak to some, Jesus is a mythical person, a mythical being. To me, Jesus was a man. Jesus was a man who did the work. He did the work, and he put the mind first, and he did the work. He did the work. He did the work. He focused on himself. He knew love. He did the work. He wasn't involved in the illusion. And because of that, he got downloads. And there's some proof that mana, the ancient esoteric mana that's in the Bible, is actually the mushroom, which is the medicine that helped the Israelites find their way home, the motherland. So it's so symbolic that when you see, you can see it. And when you know and you see the times around you and what's happening, the answers are very clear for some, right? For myself, this is the answer for me. But that's why I do what I do. And that's why I live my life with passion of helping others break through with this medicine. When I explain breakthrough, they come for many reasons. Come to heal PTSD, or they were sexually assaulted, or, everyone needs love. But there's something beyond that. There's something so far beyond that if they could get in contact with, they would forget themselves. And there would be no trauma because they would forget themselves. And that's the work that I do, finally detached. And there was no way I could have touched any of it unless I was finally detached, unless I was, Forget the dogma of what the government believes I should be doing. Forget what my parents believe I should be doing. My grandparents, everyone was against all of this when it first started because it was an idea. And it was this crazy person with an idea. But I knew that there was an energy behind me. I got the vision from the mushroom. I knew the mushroom was on my side. I know the mushroom is the mycelium underneath everything. I know that speaks to the trees. I know that there's an energetic connection to everything that if you allow it, you can get in the flow with. And it became a beautiful relationship that magic happened. Magic. I was able to walk on water. You know, people come out of the
Wait a minute.
I mean,
Wait a minute. What do you mean you can walk on water? You gotta walk that one back with me. What does that mean?
I was able to see things before they happened. So to people, what I was doing looked like magic, but what I was doing was just listening. I learned how to listen to this.
Way better. That's way better than walking on water.
Well, I like to use that religious aspect because
why? Why do you like to do that?
Because I would like to. My job.
Is that what you said? I'm just busting your balls. Like, okay,
yeah,
like it bothers me when people say "I" and then use like religious symbolism, like walking on water. Like, I think that may be walking down the wrong direction. What's the difference between wellness and illness? Right? We is wellness. Illness is I. So when you start using the word "I," want people to see this me walking on water, that becomes symbolic of a problem, right?
Depends.
Okay.
This is, I didn't make this clear. When I came in contact with the consciousness of the mushroom, Gabriel was out of the way. Gabriel had to make a decision to say, hello, whatever you are, I give myself up to you. Whatever this is, this being, my consciousness, I give it up to you. Take me, show me, lead me. It became a point where I and this thing was no longer something I had to connect to. It became one. So when I speak I speak for the mushroom. I'm not speaking for Gabriel. So if that's hard to comprehend, I get it. But that's why that's the journey. That might be the work that I have to do, or that might be the work that you have to do. I don't know. You know, who knows? I don't know. But
it's a great conversation. I like that
absolutely.
part. I think that, you know, first off, I think that language is nebulous. Like, we have this problem with language, especially people that speak multiple languages. Like, it's very difficult for us to sit down, regardless of who you are. Like, no one ever sits down and says, okay, these are our terms, let's define them before we begin discussing. And so what happens in so many ways is that people begin talking, but they begin talking past each other because they don't stop for a minute like we're doing and defining, what does that mean to you? And both people can learn a lot when we do that. But it does on some level. On some level, it takes people and it brings them in. And some levels, it takes people and pushes them away. But I'm thankful that you took a moment to explain to me the difference between I and Theyre. What, you know, we all have a different definition of what the sacred space means to us, you know, and it's fascinating to me to get to learn it on some level like that. I apologize for cutting you off right there. I wanted to jump in and say that point about discussing different terms like that, because I think it's relevant for everybody listening right now. So I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, because that simple comment or whatever I said can push people away. Right.
Yeah, and totally.
I again, right, speaking for Gabriel, right, have the human of me have fully understood that, you know, you're not going to reach everyone.
Right.
The words you use may push people away, and that's okay. They're not meant for me. They're not going to break through with the medicine I teach. The message isn't meant for them. They're not going to get it. Right? Maybe there's work to do. Maybe there's not. Maybe there's another teacher to listen to. We're all talking about the same thing. But Gabriel, lost fear of the ego. There is no scary thing to the ego to me. I don't see it as evil. if it's tapped in, and if the intention is right. This has nothing to do with me. I speak in I's because that's my programming, right? But it's such a delicate topic, which is why I don't share. There's no need for me.
It's hard to share,
right? Because it brings up debate or resistance, and for me, energetically, it's cool because it teaches people, and that's the point. And yeah, it's just a journey, you know. It's a journey.
It's awesome.
And I wish I could speak like Alan Watts about what I'm tapped into. I wish I could, but I don't care to continue to keep reading the books. I don't care to develop my vocabulary to reach new people. I'd rather write the books. I'd rather have the ideas come through and flow, because Gabriel is just a puppet to this bigger thing. And this bigger thing could be scary for others, because when it spoke through clearly. And I made the decision to give myself up to it. And it said, if you follow me and if you do my work, I will take you to everything that Gabriel wanted. But you're going to leave your mark on this world. And what I truly wanted was peace. I wanted to be an example of freedom. I wanted to show that you could tune in and tap in and have an idea and create it and create positivity on the earth. This was Gabriel's little concept, but what this thing is doing, it's much deeper than that. It's using me as a little pawn to do a little ripple over here in this corner. And then there's many people that this thing speaks to, but it doesn't speak to everyone. And it's such a funny thing. You know, out of all the journeyers I journeyed with, there's maybe only a few who have truly heard the voice and who is truly in a place to listen to it. But I had no family. I was willing to get rid of all my family. I was willing to find new friends. Many people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to lose everything that they thought they knew to step into something brand new. And that's when it all changed for me. That's when the I didn't matter. That's when I fully understood that this ego, this consciousness, this thing decided to co-create with me. It decided to tap into my ego to be able to reach and do work here. Ego's not evil. So that's why I'm loosely using the word I, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I like that. I'm curious to, you know, whether it doesn't take a whole lot for people to follow the idea of the hero's journey or mythology or understanding. You know, there's all these great works of art that were written that explain what it's like to lose everything in order to be born again. That is something that a lot of people read about, but most people don't, like you said, they don't really experience. What was it like when it sounds to me like you've had that journey a little bit, like you left your family sort of in a prodigal son way, but more probably an indigenous sort of spiritual way. But I guess those are kind of similar. What was that like for you? Maybe you can explain what that was like to leave everything and start anew in a world of uncertainty and begin again. What was that like?
Beautiful. It was all mental. It was all up here in my head. My fears were in my head. My fears of, oh man, am I going to go crazy?
Yeah.
How are people going to think about me? Or my family is going to stop loving me? What do I do? Am I going to find new people? Is this the right path? Is it not? It was all in my head. But the clarity, not the clarity in my mind that came from taking a medicine, the voice that was speaking was so damn loud, where I knew that there was something there. And I was crazy enough, detached enough from society to be like, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to this. Because I was at a point where I was trying everything out and I was suicidal. I was ready to take my own life because the shit wasn't working, man. I was like, okay, let me go. What do I need to do to make money, to be a living, to do this? But I'm not happy doing that, man. I'm not happy. You know, so it was as if this thing was waiting for me. It was waiting for me to find it. And lo and behold, I find it, and it showed me. It finally gave me the answers to what I was seeking. Alan Watts reading it didn't do it. It gave me time. It helped me not commit suicide, but it didn't give me the answer that I was seeking. Yeah, I would go meditate and stuff. Yeah, cool. You go to nothingness and you feel the connection with everything. That's beautiful. Everyone can be, but for those who have questions, there's a way to go deeper and get answers to the questions that no one had answers to. And the thing is, you're not gonna be able to get these answers and then come back and say, "Hey, I have the answers." No, you're a crazy person. But it's for you. If you're grounded enough to receive it and to apply it. Yeah, that the journey was beautiful because I had a friend, I had a companion, I had an energy behind me, dude. In my eyes, I had God on my side.
Of course.
So much so beyond law of attraction. I became law of attraction. I didn't need to think about esoteric concepts. I didn't need to meditate. I didn't need to go do these things. I was it. So I didn't waste any more time. I went out and created, because the creation energy is the godly energy. I'm not going to manipulate and do what other people do. I'm going to go create. But first, I'm going to tap in to the depth that no one's been before. And then I'm going to pull information out from that depth and bring it out here to the world. And maybe it won't be received. But like myself, Terrence McKenna was not received. Still not received. But he planted a seed for me to be able to find this path. So I see that maybe I'm here just to plant a seed for that one person 20 years in the future who hears my words and they're like, shit, dude, I feel kind of the same thing. You know? And then
why do you
have confidence to walk that path. Mm-hmm.
Why do you say no one's been there before? Like, what does that mean?
Because when you go deep enough on the medicine, it will show you things that no other human has shown before. It will show you things that no man has seen before, and it's only for you. There may be no other person that sees that exact thing. And some scientists might chalk it up to, oh, those are chemicals in your mind. But when you go to some of these places and you have, when you have awareness, when you have the education about how the world works and how, okay, there's more than just this one realm, right? There's energy. Once you do the work, you understand, that's the work. That's the 10 years beforehand of preparing my mind to be able to receive and truly integrate these downloads without being like, oh, no, they're not real. They're just, what's the symbology behind it? No. I didn't put up the wall. I accepted. And I just walked. And that's why I say walking on water, because how do you go from someone who has nothing to now the idea is multiplying itself. I was in the way. See, if you knew my old self, you would understand that the life I'm living right now is completely different from where I was. I was in my own way. And this just it got me completely out of the way because I learned not to care about myself. And I don't care about myself, but I know that there's rules to this game. Energetically, spiritually, all of it. And fundamental rules, especially when it comes to how energy flows in terms of money, right? I understood the concept of, okay, everyone's God. We are all the energy, so we're all free now. And you can tell yourself that for a while, and you can feel free. But then again, if you're not financially free, you ain't free, my friend. And it's going to eat at you, and you're going to know it, and you're going to feel it. So I wanted freedom. The mushroom in me just wants to represent freedom. Dogmatic, spiritually, everything. Freedom, free. And that's been my life's purpose. So it might not be luxurious, but I'm free. And now I have time. I have the time to work on my mind. I have the time to learn the skills that can actually bring true freedom, right? And that's just on a side note for those who are not there consciously to care about, getting a download to connect closer with God, or to do this or to do that. Maybe they just want to be better in life, or to find some creativity to, make more money for their family, whatever it is. It's that's where I'm saying it all connected, and all this happened without me having to do anything. I just had to make the decision to listen. And as I listened, I was able to move in a way where, it just became easy. It became fun. Writing books became fun. Creating courses became fun. Reaching massive people became fun. You having the mushroom on my side helped me be able to see through the illusion. And if you can see through the illusion, then you can see the momentum of it. And if you can see the momentum, then you can see what is, and you can see what's next. So if so as a creator, you can start spending time on what's next, not what's here, what's next, what's next. The mushroom's always what's next. And all focus went into that. All creation went into that. And that's where, it became just a fun journey. And I say walk on water because how does this single medicine man who just got the download, who used to live on the floor at family's house, used to sleep on the floor, how does this guy get a download that actually turns into freedom in a matter of so quickly? But yet it's not just him, because other people are getting the download too, who comes in contact, and people are writing about it in published books. And how does that happen when there's people who've been around here for years doing this? How does that happen? That was the energy behind me that I'm speaking of, that I knew would do the work. I knew people, I would speak to people and I would see, this is what's going to turn out from this. I don't even know. I'm not even manipulating it. I'm not even trying to do it. I just already know what's going to happen from it. And that's been the life, and that is the life. And that's just, I'm just here just to be an example. I have nothing to teach. I'm just going to living life. And as life progresses, these words that may have no weight, once people look up 15 years from now, 20 years from now, 25 years from now, it's going to have more validation. It's going to have a little more weight, because they're going to be like, maybe there is something to that. And that little maybe, that little question, that life example is my legacy here. That's the journey. And it's just a fun game because it's all an illusion. But when you wake up, there's depth to it. There's depth to what are we? Where are we really? What is this consciousness? If it's all one consciousness, then where is the consciousness originating from? What's the source? What just depth, man, just deep stuff. Because I don't want to go too deep into it, because I can kind of see your eyes glossing over a little bit.
No, not at all. Let me tell you where I'm at. Like, it's really fucking hard to be yourself, man. Like, it's fucking, and when you talk, now that you've explained a little bit about what walking on water is, I have a better understanding as a symbolic reference to a fucking miracle. I get it. I fucking get it, man. My kid died. I watched my life go from fucking dog shit into fucking what I'm doing now. I fucking get it, bro. Trust me. I fucking understand walking on water. I wanted to hear what your walking on water was. I'm not downplaying anything you're saying at all. At all. But it's imperative that I challenge you. Anybody that's going to make terrific claims like that, they need be in front of someone who will challenge them. And like that's what I want to do. I think that what you're doing is fucking, it's very difficult, especially now, to turn your back on the fucking world and lead. But the world needs leaders. They need that. It's very difficult to do. Most people won't do it. Most people will never have, let me say it this way. Most people can't do it. It's not that they won't, it's that they can't. They have a family. They have all these reasons. And who are you and I to downplay other people's reasons why they can't do it? We're not living their life. Right. And so when I see people that are really gifted and really fucking talented, it's imperative that I want them to see things in a different way. Like, look, you can do it, Gabriel. Like, you fucking did something that most people can't. You found who the fuck you are. You went to a place most people can't. Most people would commit suicide, man. Like, look how many people are committing suicide on a daily basis. Never before in history have we seen an epidemic of people killing themselves. It's fucking hard. And here you are going in front of thousands of people and telling your story. Your family didn't believe in you. Jesus Christ, what is it like when the people you love most don't believe in you? Holy shit, I get goosebumps, man. I know. And so that's not my eyes glossing over. And if it's them glossing over, that's fucking tears, because I get it, man. Like, that's what it is. So I just wanted to stop for a minute and pause, because it's not me glossing over. It's me understanding what it's like to be on the path of no one understanding you. It's me being on the path, much like you are, and going to this place where fucking no one understands. But there's a lot of, and like you said, you had mentioned this, there's a lot of people out there that are getting these downloads. So like, you know, that's what I'm trying to bring out right now, is this idea of it is happening. Whatever this thing is, it's happening right now. It's happening to you, it's happening to me, and it's happening to other people. What do we do? Like, what is it that you're doing now since this thing happened to you? And what is the life you're living now? Because you're right, there is this idea of freedom. Money is this fucking bullshit idea that chains you to the life that will never allow you to become your total self ever. Money is a chain. Yeah, it'll flow into your life later if you are able to do good things for people. Right. But yeah, I want to hear what it is you're doing now. Like, what does it mean? Here's another question that is important that I want to hear your answer. Why take a title? Like, why curandero? Why reverend? Like, what does that mean to you? And like, why did you take that title? Who bestowed that title on you?
The medicine teachers that I worked with bestowed that title. I would have never walked this path, or shall I say, accepted these titles without the medicine speaking. The clarity behind it is where I fully understood, okay, this is what it is. I'm a teacher for this. It speaks to me. So and I'm integrated in society. Even though I'm out of it, I'm very much integrated. I'm not walking around barefoot. I'm not all hippy dippy. You understand? I'm very here and now. I'm very here and now. So it's as if it chose me to be able to communicate to normal people. I have an extraordinary vocabulary. I'm educated, but I'm here just to reach normal people because I'm normal. I was ready to commit suicide multiple times. And that'd be crazy for people to hear, but it's true. But because I was there, I was closer to finding before anyone else, because I was at the end, bro. And that's why I see, like you said, the epidemic happening. These people are ready. Those are the warriors. The ones who are ready to commit suicide, they don't know who they are. They're the warriors. They're the ones who I seek because I know they will break through. They will receive the download because they have nothing else. They've already mentally given it all up. A lot of people have not come to that point. So they're not ready to receive the download, you know? So they're in that illusion. You know, what I'm living now is freedom. Freedom, not just, let me explain.
Yeah, please.
To me, I understand the game of this realm, and I understand the work that I do. And what I truly want to do is be able to give this all away. I want to give this for free. I don't want people to come to me and have to pay to do a journey with me. I want my medicine grown. I want to have my land with my animals. I want to be able to live off the land. And those who are called that want to do this work can find me. And I give it to them. You know, this is a whole thing with psychedelic therapy where now everyone's charging. It's a capitalist game, you know, and I see through it, but I also see the value of it because a lot of medicine people don't have their groundedness, so they don't understand the value of money. So they're already charging nothing or doing nothing, but they're not building a brand. They're not entering the consumer's mind. How do you feel? What's the value of something that's free? When you see it, you're probably like, hit or miss, whatever. Look how much value is there. But you see something for $5,000 and you're like, what the hell? 5,000? What does it include? What's in it? What about it? So it starts to add. So they're all, I'm me, man. I'm the consciousness. But all these things are masked just to be able to reach people. They're all masks just so, oh, okay, maybe this is right for me, or oh, okay, I feel like they're all masked. I'm a normal person. I'm like everyone else, but I did the work to listen. And I'm just here as an example that, dude, if you do the work and you listen, I Gabriel, have found a path that this speaks very clearly. And it's not that it's man, it sounds so crazy too, but it's not. You can only go as deep as your facilitator has been. Unless you've done that work, like I explained, those 10 years to really get yourself to the point where you can be you're out of the way. The ordinary person can only go as far as their facilitator has been. And a lot of facilitators are just becoming facilitators because they're like, oh, that's a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
There's good, oh, I can get paid $200 an hour. There's a good opportunity there. You know, I used to meditate. Let me go walk in this path. But they haven't even gone deep with these medicines. They haven't even broke through themselves. But then they're leading others to a happiness, but not to the breakthrough. They're scared. They can't do that. How can they give them that much medicine? They don't feel comfortable in themselves to do that. What if something goes wrong? Are they going to lose their mind? Like, so there's, you can only go as far as your facilitator has been. That's the first thing that's the download I received. True or
That's
not?
a great point.
But for me, the mushroom has taught how to use the matrix to my advantage, because the mushroom was like, okay, if you're giving yourself to me, I'm going to help you crack this code, because this code is nothing. You should not be spending time on trying to crack the code. Here's how to do it. And I just listened, and it took a year of creating stuff, making YouTube videos, learning how to edit videos, learning how to do all this stuff. But I was in pure creation. I was just having fun. And lo and behold, boom, it hit. Do this, do this. And then I started to see some cash flow from it. Now, I did the education beforehand. During these 10 years, I wasn't just sitting and meditating. I was also reading all the books on Warren Buffett, on, listening to Grant Cardone religiously, understanding Tony Robbins' mindset. Like, I wanted to find the spiritual connection, because I went deep in the rabbit hole of the spirituality, to what modern society finds important. I wanted to find that connection so I can no longer walk between the worlds, but I can be that boom. And that programming that I did on my own mind, it was mercurial. I became these two separate ideas, and it just shoo. And then I was like, aha, I see. Now, as a medicine man, I can find a way. I can create cash flow, and I can create while giving back at the same time. And as I give back and I create a brand, which is an idea, but the idea starts to impact and infiltrate people's minds, like mycelium. It's a virus. It's a virus to the matrix. So it spreads, and as it grows and as the cash flow continues, right? I did the work on understanding cash flow. I understood money. I wasn't going to work for anyone else anymore. I wasn't going to work for earned income. I wanted passive income. So I spent all my time, every waking hour, developing passive income from nothing, $0. How do you create something from nothing like a magician? This is what I speak of walking on water. And I did it. I found the way with the mushroom's help. It was just like kind of a driving force. It would give me anxiety in the morning because I knew I had to do something. So I'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, doing the work, getting it done. I was listening. I just became a conduit, tapped in, all in. And it created this level of freedom because I knew, okay, I can be the medicine man that's out there and doing this work. And hopefully, I'm praying maybe I'll run into someone who's going to fund my vision and who's going to buy some land and really understand what I'm doing and really support the mission. Dude, I tried so hard, intentionally giving love, like putting it out there. but I learned very valuable lessons that no one is here to help you. Even though I would love for people to be here, the programming doesn't allow anyone to help you. They don't care. They don't give a shit about you. I learned that from my own family. So,
God damn it. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay, because it turned me into the man I am. And now I can create something from nothing. So now I have family proud as hell as me for me, because they're like, wow, he did what he said. He did what he said. And it's not even done, because and that's the proof in the pudding. Now my family is microdosing. You see? Now they're walking that path because I am living it. I became the conduit of an example. And that's why I can care less about monetary expensive, but to everyone, monetary is everything. And if you have someone who's saying, dude, the mushroom's the answer, and they come from zero and they're monetarily successful and shit, they're going to be like, let me try that. Let me try that. Because I tried everything else just to make a little money here and there. You know, it's another mask to help bring people to the truth of this thing. So it's very strategic.
Why do you need a mask though? Why does it have to be a mask to bring people to stuff? Why can't it just be the thing that brings it to them? Why does it have to have a mask on it?
Because you got to know who you're working with. You got to know who is out there, and you have to see the game that's being played. You have to know the programming that is being infiltrated on the minds. That's why I said I was able to use the matrix to my advantage. You see?
I do. I think you play into the matrix when you wear the mask of the matrix. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Let me ask you this: what's more valuable, something you create or something you find?
Something you create.
Something you create is more valuable than something you find. Why?
Because the creation, if it's coming from source, it's the creation. If you're meant to find, it's meant to be found. But if you're meant to create, you're meant to create. And if you create, then you're helping other people find. It's not about the creation for me. It's about helping other people find. And if I have to speak in a way that can get this type of people, if I could speak to a way that can reach that type of people, it was my life path. I lived the life of sales, of wearing a suit to work. That was my life for a little bit. Like I am all of it. So who am I to be like, oh no, I'm just a medicine man now. Let me start walking on the earth because I believe it. Let me grow out my hair because I know it's the connection rod that helps the electrical antenna connect to the earth's energy. Let me go through all of that. But dude, I how many people are watching Gaia? You understand? Like a big amount, but still there's a wall there. There's a wall because it's too woo-woo. Some things are too woo-woo to reach people, you know? And I realized that, yeah, I am that, but then again, I am this as well, because I live between the worlds, and that is my value of who I am. And that's why the mushroom chose me, not just so I can be some hippie on the side of the mountain. I can go do that. I would love to do that. That's what I want to do. But
how did you do it then?
This is the sacrifice. I'm a warrior. So my job here is to find the other warriors. And my job here is to use the creativity to put the creations out in many ways to find the few who are ready to wake up with this medicine. It's not to collect finances or anything. What I'm doing is creating the ecosystem that creates the financial freedom. So then I don't got to worry about money, and I can give this away for free. So then I can run the campaigns that are, hey guys, come do this work for free. If you're this, that, I want to give it away for free. Trust me, if I would have had the millionaire who was like, dude, I love what you're doing, let me help you out, I would be that hippie, but I couldn't do it. And unfortunately, this is the lesson that a lot of medicine people do not understand. They're waiting for that person to help them, and there ain't no help out there. I'm sorry to break it to you. There's no help. There's people that you can co-create with, but still, you cannot depend on anyone but yourself. And that's the sad truth of this day and age. There's very few people of integrity. There's very few people who are willing to die, for what they believe. I'm willing to die for what I believe. I know it that much. You know, are you willing to die for what you believe? Like that's the depth that I speak from. That's the honesty. That's the passion that I speak from. It's not a joke to me. This isn't a lifestyle. This is it. So I just sometimes just, you know, find creative ways just to reach new people. And everything's a mass. You talk to your mom, you're going to talk one way. You talk to your cousins, it's going to be completely different. It's you meet a stranger, you kind of a little different. These are all masks you have on. These are all ways you're able to mold and, you know, understand who am I speaking to, and what are their deepest beliefs, and who am I really conversating with? Because if I don't know them, then I might say that I walk on water, and then they're like, oh, no. See what I'm saying? So it's all and that's a game that I had to play to get to where I am. Now I am where I am. I don't got to play any more games. People know me. I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to be found. I don't have to put myself out there in a world of distraction. You know how much distraction there is? Create a website and be authentic and everything, but it's just going to be right there, dude. You got to know how to go out there and get it. And you got to know how to go out there and get in the minds of people that are confused, that are not guided. So how do you do that? How do you do that?
I think you got to be authentic, man. I don't think you have to go out and find the warriors. I think the warriors will find you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's been the vision. You just explained it clearly. Because that's why the mushroom was like, hey, no one's going to help you figure this out. Figure out the matrix, figure out how you can tap into it with your idea, with your soul purpose. Because now nothing's taking energy from me. I'm taking energy from it. It's feeding. I'm not feeding it. It's feeding me. I'm the virus for it. Let people find me. I'm against it. I'm against big pharma. I'm against all of this stuff. And I know people are scared to do that. There's a lot of holistic doctors that die because of this stuff. But that's what I understand too, how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
So you need to know what game you're playing in. And if you're completely authentic, that's cool. It might be a good ride, but
it's hard.
You gotta know the game.
Can anybody actually be fully authentic? I mean, like you said, a lot of the times people put on. There's a great book by Carnegie called Games People Play, and it's very similar to the idea of wearing masks, and it's an exercise people can do. And you know, if you're an employee, you're playing the game of an employee, and this is your boss. But anybody here's a cool thing people can do. If you ever find yourself in a discussion with someone who seems to be an authority figure, and they're asking you questions, hey, why'd you do that? Just to answer with a question and be like, why do you think that was wrong? And watch that person flip. You as an individual, and I'm not talking to you, Gabriel, I'm talking to all the people listening, is that you are your words. The words you use describe who you are. And if you want to feel as if you have authority and authenticity and power in this world, you can speak it into existence on some level. People may not believe the words you say. People may not thoroughly take what you say to heart, but when you begin speaking your own truth, you begin walking in a certain way that becomes more aligned with who you are. It's a great book. It's called Games People Play, that check out it. But it reminds me of the idea of masks and how we try to navigate into this world. There was another part too that you said that kind of struck me. And it's this idea that you have to build something in order to not worry about money. And like, I think so many people struggle with that. I think so many people, myself included, struggle with this idea of worrying about money. But like, it can be debilitating. At least for me, it has been. Like, if I don't have money on some level, I think to myself, what kind of a father am I? What kind of a husband am I? What kind of a person am I if I don't have fucking money? And that makes me so sad on some level. You know, if I take a deep trip about it, you know, whether it's on something, it helps me separate from myself and be like, fuck money. The fuck is money? Money is supposed to be this idea of what's valuable. And I'm fucking valuable. Gabriel's valuable. Our fucking family's valuable. Money's shit. Money's dog shit. Money is taking the place of value. It's become a value holder. And when we give ourselves to this idea of needing money in order to be George, like that, Jesus Christ, that's the fucking death of society right there. And it's sad because it's all around us. It screams to us from every billboard. It screams to us from every book, from every song, from every pop star. It's ridiculous. And it saddens me. It fucking saddens me to think so many of us are goddamn walking around here and worried we don't have enough fucking money. It's fucking bullshit, man. It makes me sad. How does it make you feel, man?
I felt this the exact same way, and
Thank you.
It was and I realized I had those feelings
Yeah.
because they were truth. I was telling myself the truth, and the truth hurt. The truth hurt. So I started to ask myself why. Money is energy. It's a spiritual thing, and it's a spiritual thing to attain because it's hard to attain. You got to do work to get it, and that's a spiritual journey. So I had to detach from what I thought I knew and really understand where am I lacking as a human being that I cannot allow this energy to penetrate my life. What blocks do I have in my psyche? What do I have? The human being creates, I don't know, 20,000 cells a second. So why can't we make $20,000 a month in cash flow? That's so insignificant and small. So it's this. It was the training of my mind to fully see that there's no evil behind this. The intention behind it can be evil. How it's played is evil, or it can be your greatest asset, right? And that's exactly what you said. Why, I could choose the path of preaching what you said, or I can choose the path of figuring the shit out and then be an example of, I understand what you guys are going through, but this happened and occurred because I took the spiritual path. And then to show that, then people see, wow, there's value to spirituality. There's maybe that's the answer I was missing. You see, that's what I mean by using the matrix to my favor.
Yeah.
Not just for me, but for others, because that's what's in other people's mind. And we're not going to go. There's no way you're going to tell someone that's not true. You're not going to be able to convince them out of their own mind. They're going to feel the value of it,
Right.
Even though I know deep down in my being, yeah, dude, that's what it is. But then it comes down to it's a spiritual journey, and a lot of these people who get it, the families that run everything, they've gotten it for a while. They've gotten it for generations. They've gotten it for generations. And my family has not taught me that. We are generations behind.
We're new families.
So when you understand that, you take a responsibility to be like, I'm not letting my kids ever feel this. I need to be the first of my generation to get this shit to the next level. Because if I don't, then they're starting from the bottom. And this shit's getting worse. The haves are up here. The have-nots are coming here. What do you think that separation is happening? It's coming bigger and bigger. And what's the gap? The understanding of spirituality. Because nothing's stopping us from attaining this. It's abundant. This world's abundant. It's just about breaking through our own constructs, our own limitations to be able to see what's all around us at every second and having the courage to step into that shit and not care what people think. Not care that people are like, oh, all he cares about is money or this or that, whatever. Like I woke up spiritually. You're still stuck in something, and that's why you see it that way, which is okay. That's your journey, but you can't judge me for my journey. That's just the detachment of it that's required to detach yourself from everything you thought you knew to just sacrifice for this other side. Because once you understand that other side, bro, then you become whole. And now you're dangerous. Because now you don't need someone to fund your ideas. You can get it yourself. You don't need to go to a bank to get a loan. You can create it yourself.
right.
You can create magic out of thin air. And
That's right.
that's what should be taught, because when you teach people that, they don't need to go to work on Monday. They don't need to pump into the system. They don't need to that's the education that we were never taught. You're not even
Right.
taught that in college.
Right.
Understand? So that's the example of what I'm here for in this part of my life. You know, I'm
Well said.
I am a conduit that is looking at what's being created, and I have ideas of where it can get to and what it can be, and I see all these other ecosystems that can connect to it, and it's like, well, finally detaches just one thing out of 5 things that are going to be created in the future that all feed off of each other, that all reach in different ways. But I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if a new idea is going to pop up. I'm just here to listen.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing when we learn that we're dangerous. It's fucking powerful, man. Like, it's the next part of the journey for me was, now what do I do? I'm a dangerous motherfucker. I can hurt people in a lot of fucking ways. Now what do I do? Like, that's a fucking, like, you know, and I think that that's why they don't teach it, because a lot of people know, if a lot of people knew how dangerous they were, would we trust them? I kind of think we should teach people that. Like, I don't think that should be taken away from people. People are dangerous. They should embrace it, and they should learn to wield it in a way that is responsible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, maybe this is what happens when you reach a sort of spiritual milestone, is that you're allowed to see that you're dangerous. And then the next step is, what are you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to wield this? You're given power on some level. You've found a way. You broke free from your family. You've fucking walked down the path. You've conquered some fucking demons. Okay, here's the fucking staff. We could do with this now. You know, and it's both humbling and rewarding, but also a bit frightening to wield power in some levels. And those people who are not afraid to wield power, I don't think should be allowed to have it. Because those are the people that have been detached for too long. You know, when you speak about being finally detached on some level, it's like we're given our freedom. Like, fuck, I made this shit. Fuck, I get it. I see clearly. But what happens to the 3rd or 4th generation who didn't untangle themselves, but has been born detached? Like, they've forgotten what it's like to have a family that forgot them. You know, they forgot what it's like to still love your family, even though they forgot you. They've forgotten that, hey, you know what? Maybe my family wasn't as educated as me, and I forgive them for fucking turning their back on me because they didn't know. Doesn't mean I'm not still pissed off about it a little bit. You know, but I understand that these fuckers were very selfish in their own way, but I still love them. You know, I understand them. I fucking figured it out. Okay, you fuckers. You're very selfish. I'm so pissed off at you fuckers. But I get it. I'm not happy about it. But you know, what about the kid that hasn't found that out for themselves, Gabriel? Like, it's very hard to get there. Very fucking hard. People don't ever get there. But what about the person that has power and never forgave their fucking family? You know, I don't know. Like, I think that we've walked a lot of similar paths. We probably, on some level, have slayed a lot of similar fucking demons. I forgive my cussing so much, but I'm passionate about it. But I see that on some level. And we start talking about people in authority. You know, I see people that have gotten to a point on the path where they're no longer willing to have empathy for those people. And I draw that back to the family analogy. When I'm talking about, I'm talking about my family as much as I'm talking about my other's family. Like, my family turned their back on me a while ago. And I spent a lot of time blaming, like, these selfish motherfuckers, dude. How? Why? And then when I had kids, you know, it dragged on me to a level like where I would never do that to them. And then you get to this point where you're like, They didn't know any better. They didn't fucking know any better. Their parents did it to them. How would they possibly know? And then all of a sudden you get to this point of like, holy shit, man. I'm going to be the one that has to change it. And you're so thankful. It's a heavy burden, man. And a lot of people get to that point and they're like, I don't want to carry this burden. I'm just going to go back to blaming. I'm just going to go back to this. But, you know, I do think that, and this is me only at the path where I'm at right now. But it seems to me on some level, people get to a point where they're not willing to accept. I don't know. I guess I'm not that level yet. You know, as I spent a lot of time as a union representative, and I would fight for a lot of my fellow brothers and sisters who were getting in trouble. And then it came time for them to face the higher level management. They go, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, motherfucker, I just spent a week preparing a case and an argument that's going to destroy these knuckleheads. And I'm going to crush them and I'm going to do it on your behalf. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. Why not? I gave up all my family time to help you with this argument, and now you don't want to do it? Like, and that made me feel something to this level of like, well, why should I help them then? These fucking pussies. You know what? Fuck them. I have to do the argument for them, and I didn't want to do it now. I spent all my time doing it. Something in you kind of dies, you know? But I can fast forward that super far and see that in people in positions of authority and power that like maybe they see the same way. I don't know. What do you think about that? Is that too far out there? Is that too crazy? Or what do you think?
No, it's not too far or crazy at all, because when for myself, I'll speak for myself. Once I went deep enough with the mushroom, I woke up to a lot of this stuff. And the empathy that I used to give for others, I stopped giving because I stopped giving empathy to myself. And in order for me to become a warrior, I had to get out of the shit. I had to stop feeling about my feelings. Fuck feelings. They're an illusion. They're not real. So fuck feelings. That's what I had to get through here. But then again, it was like this, man, the mushroom helped me see the other side. Like I was then able to sit at the other side of the table. The generations ahead, I know they know this. I know they do. And I know they've been living it. And I know they have the support behind them with it. They do magic. They understand the energy. This is different. This is not waking up and hoping. They know. And when you know, you lack empathy because you're like, nothing's stopping you from finding. The answers are all out there. What's stopping you? The only thing stopping you is your own mind. And it's that I have empathy that many people will go to their graves without ever knowing. But I have a deep understanding that I'm not here to save anyone but myself. And when I save myself, I save others through my example. Period. Nothing I talk, nothing I do is going to help save them. And I say them, but I am them. I am that. But I started to have empathy, not for where I came from, but for those ahead that I always thought was so evil. I started to see, maybe they just knew something we never knew. And maybe there is no way that it could ever be taught, because these truths, if it were taught to the wrong people, they would just blow their brains out. They wouldn't even want to be a part of this game if they really knew what was behind it, what was running it. If they really knew, they wouldn't even want to play in this arena.
What does that mean? If they really knew what? They would blow their brains out.
For men to enslave men and create this whole system of enslavement monetarily, pharmaceutically, all levels. This is beyond man. This is out of this world. And once you awaken that, the devil is not just an energy. The devil is, man, there's some deep stuff, man.
Yeah,
it's all right. Let's just talk it.
Yeah, let's do it. I love it.
Okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
This is all out of this world. That's why the mushroom speaks to a few. It's here as a virus to teach what is in control of all of this. Because once you awaken to that, then you understand how to fight back. If you don't know what's in control and you think you're fighting man, you're lost. You're done. If you're trying to fix a law or whatever, dude, you're done. You're in the game with them. They're creating the trends. They're creating the seeds that are implanted in the mind, and they have the research and the data to know what it's going to manifest 20 years from now. They know what it's going to look like 25 years. This is not man that we're playing with. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to sound like some crazy conspiracy theorist. But once you awaken to what it is, then you can get serious about it. And then you start to be like, how do I really fight back in this? And that's where the mushroom came in for me, because this was the awakening I had. This was the 10 years work. I knew all of this, but it was all inside of me. But then the mushroom showed what it is. The mushroom showed where my conscious actually is. The mushroom showed why this is all an illusion. Yeah, there's ones and zeros behind this whole code. Why? It's a code. This is as if we're in AI. It's as if our consciousness was plugged into AI by some significant intelligence that's running games, that's running ways just to gather data so it can be used for the future. Then you start to see, okay, this is not man against man. This is very much close to Star Wars. And it goes very, very deep. And that's why I say the mushroom's not from this earth. And if you can tap into it, the warriors understand and get the download of how they fight back in this game. And they fight back by implanting the mind, by helping awaken the people, not just to how do I navigate in the matrix, no, dude, to awaken to what the hell this shit is. And the warriors are the ones that can handle it. The warriors are the ones that once they get that download, a lot of them are the ones who are ready to commit suicide because they're done. They want to give up. They want meaning.
Yeah.
But once they get the download of seeing, holy shit, this is what was behind all of this. And this is why we're not living to the age we used to be able to live to. And this is why my pineal gland is decalcified. And this was the connection to this. And it starts to make a whole lot of sense that, okay, why do they poison the food? Why do they dumb us down? It's not just for money. It's whatever. The money, they created it. It's an idea. Money is just the prison system. It's not correct. The ones that know, they don't need no money. They're not even here. You know what I'm saying? They're like ready fucking to where Alpha Centauri, Mars, whatever. They have it's the game. Once you understand the game you're playing in, then you start to see, okay, there's nothing to fight against because you're fighting against yourself. So instead of you just stop running away from yourself and you accept the darkness that is within, because the darkness that is in me is the darkness in you. And that's the same darkness that's in them. So how can I point the finger at them and say they're evil? I don't know. Maybe they just know something I don't. You understand? Maybe they're the awakened ones. And I can walk around all lovey-dovey but maybe they understand love don't get the job done. Because there's many forms of love. Love is an idea. That's a construct in itself. What's the difference between tough love and a nurturing love? Love is love. So it's everything is love. Your vibrational being that's just vibrating, that's creating George. That's love, man. It's all love. So there's not this idea of, oh, this is love and that's hate and this. No, man, it's all energy. Now, how are you going to use that to fight the war?
It's deep, man. I love it. I on some level, though, it speaks to the idea of are people awakening to the idea that there's a lot of people that are inferior. Like that's a fucking, there's a lot of noble truths out there that we tell ourselves. What happens when we pull the covers off and we tell the world, look, some people are really fucking inferior. And it has nothing to do with color or race. Some people are just dumb. What the fuck should we do with those people? Like, that's a pretty interesting concept to think about, you know? And like, I'm not saying that as a pejorative. I don't mean that in a negative way. You know,
It's not.
There's people who look at me and be like, that guy's a fucking dummy. They're probably, a lot of them are right, man. Like, I'm fucking far from an elite intelligent person, man. Whatever the fuck that means,
Right.
you know, but I think it's a slippery slope. And those people, anybody who thinks that they're more intelligent than other people, Jesus Christ, man, that's a problem, right? Or what is it? I don't know.
Absolutely. Because there's no intelligence, right? No one's more intelligent than others. It's just some have awareness and some don't. And what we're talking about is awareness.
Right.
And if people lack awareness, then, and you're honest and you're like, damn, there's a lot of inferior people who are lacking awareness, then you start to create the solutions for it. But if you're not honest you're wasting your time dancing around the truth. You're dancing around the truth, and then you're never going to get to it because you lack that warrior mentality to say, fuck it. I don't care about feelings. I want to see it how it is. Tell me how bad it is. What do I need to do? Because I'm going to make it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fucking fail. I'm going to fucking fail until I get it right. Like that's it, you know? And that's we've been softened, right? This is a softened generation. We want to run to the feelings. We want to go meditate instead of going to feel the pain and actually just work through that shit, you know? Understand what you are, awaken to the energy that you are, and move. We've been taught, we've been softened, man, and we've been softened for a reason, because the great days are coming. It's coming. It's right around the corner. We all know it. That's why we're all starting to wake up to this stuff, and that's why people are listening to these things. It's happening, and who's going to be fighting? There's so many soft that it's going to happen, and everyone's going to hold hands and meditate, and that ain't going to do that. I'm not going to say anything, but that's all I'm saying. That's why we're talking about programming. I believe they programmed us for what's coming. And when you wake up to the level of programming that was infiltrated in you, you'll start to see like, shit, maybe this whole awakened trend was something that was created and implemented, like the psychedelic 60s, like LSD, like them dropping stuff into, maybe they know what they were trying to create because they know what's coming.
It's you know, if past relevant behavior is the best predictor of future behavior, it's interesting to think how things can be guided. I think it's a true statement. If past relevant behavior is the best predictor of future behavior, although it's not 100%, it is a pretty good barometer of what's happening. And I talk a lot about psychedelics, and I don't think it's necessarily my idea but there's a lot of similarities between the late 50s and right now, when psychedelics had this medical model and they were doing all this research about helping people see things. And then when it got to a point where things were getting out of control, that genie was put back in the bottle, or attempted to put back in the bottle. And there was a lot of people that didn't want to go to war anymore. There was a lot of people that didn't want to pay taxes anymore, you know, and you know, Timothy Leary gets a bad rap, and people probably get pissed at me saying that, but I've never seen a more better time than for people to fucking, you know, turn on, tune in, and drop the fuck out, man. I know people don't like that, but guess what? Guess what, man? Sounds like a pretty good recipe to me.
Absolutely. And it's been shown that all of that was started by the CIA. So like I say, these guys are masterminds and they collect data. Why do you think they knew this next awakening was going to happen? There's no way they're going to hold it back. But now who wants to be in control of all of it? Who wants to say, oh, this is clinical, and this is how much medicine you should take, and this is what's going to make you crazy, and oh, be careful, you might jump off a building. Yeah, they want to make you happy enough to keep playing in their game, but they don't want to break you free. So that's why people like me, we're not on stages speaking. You know, I have people that are idols to some people that I know. They haven't even been deep on the medicine, but they're speaking for it. You understand? Like they're so it's like the Terrence McKenna. You know, there's the crazy one. They're down here. They're never going to be seen, but all the scientists are looked at. Everyone's waiting. What did the scientists say? So I can feel safe and do this. Because they don't understand what's the paradigm of the scientists. They can't push the agenda. They can't go outside the bounds. If they do, they're going to be reprimanded. So it's such a game. That whole education system. That whole you got to learn how to detach from all of that. And understand that the ones who know are the ones who experience the shit directly. That's who I wanted to hear from. That's what I want to know from. I don't care about what education you have. That, to me, that is the Great Awakening. That's the benefit of the psychedelic medicine, and that is what's not being taught. That's not what being shared. That's not being shared. It's all in this cookie cutter approach. It's all in this. Okay, what a ketamine and this ayahuasca and it's like, dude, it's no one's saying what the hell it is because maybe no one knows. Maybe no one got the download. I don't know, but I know I'm not the only one who got the download. It came before. I experienced it for myself, but then I'm like, how am I the only one that sees this? I don't. I did the work though. I sacrificed myself. I don't know how many other people did that. I don't know. So that's why it's such a weird freaking thing to talk about because it's just it's very religiously symbolic. I'm not a religious person at all, but after this whole interaction, after the depth of the voice, I was like, this is like the idea of God the Father speaking and telling you the logos of how to live. And if you can just listen, the universe works for you. It works. It happens. You walk on water. That's why I'm not claiming anything about myself. I'd rather keep it quiet. But I know that this is the truth of this. So there's some responsibility of, okay, how do I creatively get this out there without saying it? That's what I mean by wearing masks and being able to navigate with, because I'm not here to start a cult. That's not what this is at all. You understand? Right. Like
I know 100% what you're saying.
You know that's the depth of it, and that's why I say I'm willing to die for it. Because I know those that know in the future, it may come. The crucifixion may come. It's what it is.
There's a great story between you may have seen this. I think people can find it on YouTube. But there's this great dialogue between Terrence McKenna and Ram Dass. And they're talking about, God damn it makes me so proud to think that you and I have a very similar conversation. And so they're sitting down at this bar in like Czechoslovakia or something like that. And Terrence McKenna says to Ram Dass, like, so what do you think happened in like the 60s, man? Like, where did we go wrong? And I'm paraphrasing the story from this point on. Mm-hmm. And Ram Dass says, let me tell you a story. He goes, there's this raging warlord in a time of yesterday in South Asia or in some land somewhere. He is a motherfucker, man. He is a dangerous, doesn't give a fuck about anything. And he's rampaging through the countryside and he's taking everything over. And the only resistance he finds is people that are religious. And so he goes out of his way to make sure that those people are made an example of. And he'll just fillet him and his crazy mean shit to him and hangs him up so everyone will see and they'll be afraid of this guy. He doesn't want there to be any resistance. And so he finally makes his way to this southern town and he meets the leaders there and they're like, oh, great warlord. You know, everyone has fled the town in fear of you except for one of our religious leaders. And the guy's furious. He's like, what? What are you talking? Does he know who I am? And like, he's like, where is this guy? They're like, oh, he's waiting in the ashram for you. What? This fucker's waiting for me? He marches up to the ashram up there and boom, blows open the doors. And there's the monk just standing there smiling at him. And the warlord gets in his face. And he goes, spittle coming out. He's like, who the hell are you? Don't you know who I am? I could take my sword and run it through your belly at any moment. And the monk just smiles at him and he goes, and don't you know who I am? I'm the man who could have your sword run through my belly at any moment. And like, there's this beautiful pause between them. And you just see Terrence McKenna flash one of his smiles and he's like, and that's what happened. When the guy with the fucking sword came, we ran for the hills. Talking about the 60s, you know? But I think this speaks to your idea of masks and logos and the idea that, look, the message is out there. It's been out there for a long time. People are waking up. And when people begin waking up, all of a sudden the warlord, be it the government, be it the authority figures, be it the ruling families, whoever the fucking warlord is, those people find themselves in danger at a level they haven't in a long time. So they come rampaging through the countryside looking for the people. And I think that this speaks to the idea of where the warriors are. Maybe that is the message. Maybe we should be fucking looking for warriors to stand up and create a tribe. Or how do you see, in your opinion, and I don't know this, but it seems to me the individual waking up and becoming the very best version of themselves is the antidote there. What do you see? Is that similar to something you see, or what do you see as an antidote for the rampaging warlord coming through the depths?
That's the the mushroom told me a long time ago that I'm here to awaken the warriors. So I know I'm not here to journey with every person that walks this earth. So there's a very specific protocol, like you said earlier, that we follow, because I found a way to decipher who's the warriors or who are not, who are really ready to let go and who isn't. And like I said, there's a level of consciousness. There's a facilitator for every level of consciousness, right? Just because that facilitator didn't go deep and they're starting to facilitate, I have nothing bad to say about that. They're doing the work. But there's a level for every consciousness.
Right.
When it comes to the self-awakening is the first step. Everyone needs to do that. It's going to build your awareness. Once people get there, there's going to be some that are going to have an urge, a knowing, a push to go deeper. I was one of them. I never knew the medicine would expose itself and give me the answers, but when it did, it taught me who I was. It showed me my lineage that I never bothered to research. I validated it with, okay, I'm taino. My bloodline comes from some of the first people who were here, who ran into Columbus, the people who understood that the plants had the answers. There was no middleman to God. They were the direct source. They were shamanism. And when the conquistadors came, when the church came, they came to decimate the shamans, very much like this story that you told. So the shamans had to go in hiding. To me, the shamans, I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just saying that to me, the shamans are the ones that the medicine speaks to. Period. They don't speak to you, that you can't fake that. You can't read a book and try to get that. It either is or it isn't. It's bloodline. It's very chemical based in DNA. That it works with you. There's very few who will wake up to this, but the good thing about it is that we don't need a lot of warriors. We just need a few. And the mushroom's waking them up, and it's doing the work in this small way. I'm sure there's many warriors at a whole bunch of different things, right? But the mushroom is very strategic. It's very smart. I truly believe it it helped expand the brain. Let's just put it that way. And if the ideas of where we are came from the brain, then the mushroom is the originator. So you tap into the consciousness, it's going to tell you, it's going to show you, it's going to help you see through, and it's going to help you understand the remedies for it. Now, is it about creating a tribe, a community? I don't think so. I see it as the awakening of the warriors is to awaken and then to disperse, to be the mycelium that can't be found, right? To be the invisible people that understand the game they're in, to understand what happened from the past and that nothing has changed. It's just, it all has a brand new mask on it. But it's being run the same way. But everyone, they know how to penetrate ideas and dull people and have people care more about sex and cars and random shit instead of understanding what the hell is happening right now.
Distractions.
A lot of distractions. But to me, it's about the awakening of the warriors and about all of us dispersing and awakening the other ones. Because when the warriors awaken, they listen and they do what's necessary, and they found the way themselves, and then they go be examples. And that's the virus that you can't find the beginning of. That's the virus that lives and penetrates the matrix. That's how I see kind of myself, is I'm the virus to this thing. I'm the virus to this computer program that's being run. How I infiltrated, I don't know. Is this me that's running it? Remember I said I had to let myself go and let this thing in? A lot of people are scared of that because they're dogmatically conditioned. They're like, oh, is this the devil? Did you make a deal with the devil? You see, they're dogmatically constructed to not even see the truth of it. So to me, that was like, is that the program that they put in the beginning to scare us from finding it ourselves? I don't know. For me, I questioned all those things and I went to go find the answers myself. What was pulling in me to go do it? I have no idea. But I don't know if that answers your question.
No, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But I hope it not only answers my question, like I hope it answers the question of people who find themselves on the cusp of giving up. Because I want to go back to something you said earlier. I think people that find themselves contemplating suicide, or maybe they find themselves with a knife in their hand, fucking rope, whatever your passion or your poison is, or how you think you're going to do something. My message to you is that congratulations. Fucking congratulations, man. You've wiped away the conditioning. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people should think when they find themselves on the edge of suicide. And you don't think about this till later. But hey, that is awakening. When you get to a point where you're fucking ready to die rather than continuing doing what you're doing, congratulations. You fucking made it. Like, that's it, man. Like, and I'm sorry that I wish more people that wouldn't follow through with that, but they would see that as graduation. Because and maybe that's the dark night of the soul. Maybe that's what it means to be chosen. Maybe the final test is, are you going to do it or not? You fucking already did the work. Now you're going to kill yourself, or are you going to fucking come over and be part of the team?
Right.
You know, and like, goddamn it makes me want to cry to think about that. But, you know, that is it. If you find yourself at the end of your rope, it's because it doesn't make sense. It's because it is all bullshit. And welcome to the team. Get the fuck over here and start fighting. Right?
Absolutely.
But you have to break free of the conditioning. And maybe you're 15, maybe you're 50. I don't know. Everybody gets there at a different spot. But if you find yourself there and you're listening to this, or you know someone that is, you should fucking give them a hug and tell them congratulations. You fucking made it, man.
Absolutely.
You did it.
Absolutely. And you can't break free from the conditioning until you accept it.
Yes.
And that's the being honest. That's the looking in the mirror saying, oh shit, I'm conditioned. Okay, I want to kill myself because I've been conditioned a certain way. I've been programmed. This isn't my programming. I had no control of the thoughts I was fed, of how I was raised, of what I thought was important. Now I have an opportunity, because I don't care. I'm willing to get rid of myself. Before I do that, let me just live life my way. Let me program my own mind. Let me do the work I need to do and see what happens. Because if it's shit, then fuck it. I can always exit out. Whatever.
Yeah.
I can always do it. but let me finally put the work myself. But a lot of people don't have that education, right? So they might be, especially if they're thinking about committing suicide. Luckily for myself, I never, ever, ever believed in pharmaceuticals. So I never put shit in my body that dulled my awareness. I never ran away from my feelings. I fucking faced them head on. No matter how deep it was, no matter how I felt about it, I felt my feelings. I didn't take anything to dull it. I didn't put any chemicals in my brain that helped with this, but then fucked up this. Dude, that's all bullshit. That's all gonna make you commit suicide, because you're gonna be like, fuck, dude, I'm feeling better, but then I don't, and then I do, and then I don't, and then I don't know what to do, and I'm trying to meditate, but I can't even meditate. How do you meditate? Well, dude, you're on pharmaceuticals. How the hell do you meditate? You know, it's common sense, but it's so simple, yet it's so difficult, you know? And a lot of that conditioning, what I find is with deep psilocybin intentional journeys, a lot of that can be reversed.
Yeah.
A lot of that can be helped. You can start to gain the awareness to be like, okay, this is what I can do. Okay, this is my superpower. I never knew what my superpower was. So I never knew what my purpose was. I wanted to do something that was purposeful, but how the fuck could I do that if I didn't even know why I was supposed to be here? What am I supposed to do? What am I good at? What did I care about when I was a kid? Like, what did I want to do when I was a kid? Now let me find a way to, like, how can I do that but help people at the same time? And how do I make something out of that? Because that's something I'll be passionate about. That's something I'll stand behind. That's something I can love. You know, that it's so simple. It's just people need to be guided. And unfortunately, that's why I say you can only go as far as your facilitator has been. I contemplated suicide. That's why if I integrate with someone, we can have these conversations. I can help them get out of that hole.
Yeah.
You know, we can find their superpower, their idea, and create something out of it, out of thin air. Because I did it with myself. So that's the game. And unfortunately, a lot of that is not what's going to be stressed or taught. It's just going to be like, oh, well, you're suffering from anxiety or you're suffering from depression. Okay, well, you're on Xanax right now, or you're on this medication. So what we want to do is now add psychedelic therapy to it to help the effects of the pharmaceuticals, to help it, like all this bullshit. If you buy that, then there's no hope for you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to tell you, but I'll tell you honestly, because I'm a straight shooter. I run away from people who are heavily on medications and who aren't ready to get the hell off of them. If they're trying to make it work and walk between those worlds, ain't happening. You're going to waste my energy. I'm here for the warriors. I'm here for the ones who are going to awaken. And if I don't work with the ones who are going to awaken, I somehow lose energy. It's a weird thing. But when I work with the right ones, it feeds me. So I can energetically know who I'm supposed to be working with. And you know what that means? That might mean, yeah, I have 10 people that reach out, but I only work with one of them. So then that's that responsibility on my end, that I'm not here for money. I'm not here to work with everyone. I'm here for a very specific purpose. But I might wear the mask of this to get people reaching out, but then I find the ones who are ready to break through. So that's the responsibility of. Oh, I like that. I see a comment.
Yeah.
The warriors require exorcism to properly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You get it, my friend.
Right?
You get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Sungye right there, man. Yeah.
Yep.
On some level, maybe that's, maybe the exorcism or walking up to the edge, and maybe when people contemplate suicide, they are actually killing off the conditioned part of themselves. Maybe that's what that is. You know what I mean? That's why it feels so incredible. And I don't mean that word as, I mean that word in the true sense of it. Like, it's incredible to fucking be there. But yeah, it's interesting to think that. What do you make? We spoke a little about Terrence McKenna. What do you make of Terrence McKenna being in the CIA?
He wasn't in the CIA. I think he was definitely followed by the CIA. In some of his books, he's I believe it was True Hallucinations. He was explaining how he did a talk in Colorado Boulder, and how I don't know, he had a conversation with, I believe, the speaker of it, but he went back to his hotel room or whatever, and he can hear like strange language being spoke next to him. So you could tell it was some feeling that it was KGB or it was something. But I know for a fact that he was followed. They were interested in his knowing because they they know. They know. That was more affirmation for myself. When someone has a truth that resonates, and
Mm.
that truth isn't mainstream, that's the fucking truth. If it don't go mainstream, there's a reason. There's gatekeepers. So it's so simple. When you see it, you see it. I strongly feel that he was one of the very few that was that got a deep, deep download with the medicine, who was shown what it is. And like you said, you could teach everyone this, but is there going to be evil, or some people going to use it wrong? Everyone can understand the knowledge, but the mushroom chooses who it speaks
Mm.
to. And like he said, if you don't have a pure heart, it ain't going to speak to you.
Mm.
It knows who it's working with. It knows who it's choosing. It's not a vegetable. Okay. Like, you got to move past that. You have to understand, where did this come from? Where did the spores actually come from? Because spores are covered with a material that's strong enough to withstand space. So where did they come from? Were they just sporadically flying around, or were they sent here? And what is it? Is it a technology of some sort? Because if there's a consciousness that you can tap into, what the fuck is behind it? What's communicating? And why is this the message? And why is that message resonating with other people? And why during this time? And so you start to question all these things, and then you're like, damn, is this in my mind? Is this my ego? Is this me having ego inflation, or is this that? It's like all these labels start to come up, all the programming to keep you from accepting what the fuck is. So you play those games and you navigate through it, and then you just one day decide, this is what it is, and no one can tell me otherwise. I'm not going to go preach it to everyone, but there's going to be few that accept who I am, that I can speak to, like you, and
Thank you.
stuff will naturally get out there, and if it's meant to, someone's going to hear it, someone's going to listen to it. It's what it is. It's just all a beautiful journey. This realm is just a big learning lesson, and I feel some of the warriors that are chosen, when the medicine chooses you, there's a reason. And like I was speaking before of how I had to intentionally give myself up to this thing. Oh, it was a deep moment. There was a moment where I was on the medicine and I was on the beach, and it was speaking, and I told it from the bottom of my heart. It saved my life, man. So I said, I give myself up to you. You can have me. My consciousness is yours. Use me like a tool. Use me. And then it just became. It's as if something dropped in. And I don't know what the technology is behind it. I don't know what's out there. I don't know. I don't know. But I feel as if when you go deep enough with the medicine, you create a relationship. It can become very much like Westworld, where you're there, but you're no longer there. You're co-creating with something, and that's the fear. That's that dogmatic thing I was able to detach from. That was all that work that allowed me to not fear. If this is alien, is this what they mean by the devil? Is this evil? Is this So if I let go, and then it spoke, and then I came into the rendezvous with, oh, is this what some of these religious teachers were going through when they were eating these medicines and getting, it just became very obvious. And then I saw, okay, that's the awakening, is to have no fear. The awakening is to understand that energy is energy. There is no good, there is no bad. It's the intention you put into it. It's the belief you put on it. Energy is energy. So how dare you cut off yourself from energy that is very powerful, very strong, that can help you get to where you need to go to, that can help you awaken others. You're going to cut yourself off from that energy and just say, oh, I'm only open to the light. No, I accepted my darkness. I accepted it. I accepted it so much so I had empathy, extreme empathy. I could be a psychopath. I could be a serial killer as much as the next person. I understand that. I would never do it. I never can, but I can. I understand. You know, and for many, maybe they won't understand, get that. Like I was willing to lose my mind, but at the same time, I did all the work. I did all the work to keep myself grounded. You see, like I was very much grounded in reality when this happened to me. So I was like the perfect conduit for it because I was questioning myself the whole time. I didn't accept it right away and I didn't become fanatic about it. I was like, okay, is this true? All right. Well, it said, listen to me, start changing your diet, stop drinking, start doing X, Y, Z. Okay. I listened. All I did was listen. And then I came back to it. And then it said, thank you. Now you're ready to see this. And then it said, now you're ready for X, Y, Z. And then that was the game. And I was like, okay. I just kept listening, just kept listening, just kept listening. And that's, sorry, I just want to fix my charger.
Yeah, no worries. It's getting kind of dark over there for a minute. Like the light kind of started shining on you.
Yeah. Here, let me navigate this just a certain way so it can charge correctly. Yeah, man. That's I'm sorry if sometimes I have brain farts where like I'll be talking so in depth about something and I'll be like, what was I talking about? But right now, this charger acted like that.
It's interesting. There's a great book by Julian Jaynes, and it's called The Breakdown of the Bicameral Mind. And in that book, he goes in depth about the way in which people for a long time heard voices. And he goes in depth about the hemispheres of the brain and how, you know, one hemisphere of the brain tends to be a master and one is like the emissary. However, the point of the book that I'm bringing up now is this idea that the logos that you read in Greek mythology was in fact a voice that people heard. And then there was this period where it seems to have gone dormant for a while. And when I listen to the stories you're talking about, hearing and listening, and the fact that you even use the term logos, like I've had very similar experiences of hearing things and being like, what the fuck is that? And like how frightful that can be. I remember sometimes hearing a voice and just being like, holy shit, like that is a very, very, maybe I'm a giant pussy, but for me, I was fucking scared out of my goddamn mind to hear a voice talking to me. Like, what the fuck is that? Who is here? You know? Right. And it's, I don't know who it is, but it's there and it has a voice and it will talk to you. Like, you know, on some level, and it reminded me of that book, Julian Jaynes, The Breakdown of Bicameral Mind, but it seems to be happening to more and more people. You know, do you think it's possible that we are going, like this awakening is more than just a term used on the dark web somewhere about awakening, or it's more than something talking about on Gaia TV, but it's an actual thing that is beginning to happen to the species.
Yeah, it's the archaic revival, right? I think it's
love that book.
Yeah, it's the awakening of the self. I feel what's happening is that there's some who awaken before others, and that's because I feel they had a genetic predisposition. Their ancestors, right? If you go deep into ancestral, everyone will be like, yeah, I come from a line of shamans, but really, some people come from a line of medicine people who were fucking killed and sacrificed, you know, and it's in their blood. A lot of those have awakened and are awakening, and I feel that's really what's happening. I feel it's very genetic. And genetics isn't everything, right? Because your surroundings matter as well. So it's very much what you're putting in your mind, how you're being programmed. Are you able to listen? It's Yeah, man. But at the same time, it's like the word awakening and all these things, I'm so
Mm.
detached where I'm like, who created these terms? CIA could have created all the shit, all the vocabulary we know, A, B, C, D. Who the fuck created that? Why?
Language, right?
Why is there numbers behind it? Because the language we speak keeps us trapped in this world that we can't
Mm.
even explain the fucking big picture shit. We can't. There's no way we can. We can't put it into words. Why? See, you start asking these questions, then you really start to detach, because then you start to see clearly, dude, the whole fucking thing was rigged for us to keep from this connection. And when you see that it was all rigged to keep you from the connection, that's when you take it very fucking personally to make that connection. Period.
Mm.
Like a warrior. You get serious with yourself and you're like, I'm walking this path. I don't give a shit what happens. I don't care what happens. I'm walking this path. And when you do that, it knows your intention. It knows your sincerity, and it's not going to let you fall.
Mm. And if you do fall, you've already prepared for it, right? You've already taken the idea of like, look, this could be it. You know, it's fascinating to think. I'm excited for the future, you know, and I really think, and I'm really hopeful that more people choose to become like the best version of themselves, whether that's maybe taking some baby steps and stopping drinking, or whether that's, you know, starting to read maybe some Alan Watts, or maybe just take time to turn off whatever the step is, man. I think that we're going to see a lot more people beginning to become the best versions of themselves, and watch out when that happens, man. I think that I hope every one of us gets to a level of understanding how dangerous we are, because I think there's real power in that. Like when you begin to understand that you're dangerous, that means people are afraid of you. And they should be, right? People should, on some level, people shouldn't feel threatened about an individual walking into a room, but there should be like a healthy dose of awareness of danger on some level. I mean, I don't want it to be like overpowering or something like that, but everyone should know that person next to you is capable. You know, however people want to define capable, but I wish more people would understand how capable people are. I love the idea of language too. I'm glad that you brought that up. You know, language is so limiting, and I think that that's something that people find on a deep trip through the world of psychedelics, is just how limiting language is. Like, it's pretty limiting. We really don't have the ability to express ourselves in ways that are meaningful, right?
Yep. The more you talk, the further away you get from it.
Yeah. It's interesting. What do you think about symbolism? It seems that sometimes symbolism can get closer to meaning, even though you and I see, if we take, for example, the yin and the yang, like the symbol of like the paisley with the white dot, or the dark spot with a white piece, chaos with light in it, and light with a little bit of chaos in it. It's moving in this circle. Even though you and I may not describe that the same way, we can both look at it and know what it means.
Absolutely.
What do you think is the future? Do you see a new sort of symbology moving forward? Maybe that's the way to go. Like, what do you think about symbolism moving forward?
That's the now you're speaking their language, and now you're speaking in terms that can actually fight back. You understand?
Now we're talking. Yes, let's do it.
You know, symbols are the key to the subconscious, right? So it's about how do you create creative ways to enter the subconscious and plant seeds. And that's the beauty of going deep into the abyss and pulling out whatever information you see, because you may see something no one else will ever live and see again, right? But how do you put that into a way that's digestible for the mass to interpret, right? The symbols are everything. Everything is symbols. Once you really wake up to how they play the game, I'll just say it's all symbols. It's all symbolic. It's all magic. It's all numerology. It's all things are done on a certain date, and there's reason. There's numbers. There's codes behind this stuff. There's energy behind each number. There's energy behind each letter. That's why abracadabra has a specific. It's all energy. If you don't tap into this knowledge, and there's no hope. You see, it's there's How do you create your own symbols? You know, that's to me, like an idea is a symbol, you know, an idea. We say we're dangerous. Our most dangerous aspects of ourselves is our mind. It's our ideas we come up with, right? And that's why I mention, I feel as if I'm a virus to the matrix, because I feel like this idea is maybe far out, but it flips the whole thing on its head. It makes you question everything. So even if it's not true for you, if you ponder it, it'll make you question some stuff. And that's the value of the idea, right? The symbols go deep, man. Symbols go so deep I can't even comprehend half of them, right? Because I don't have the education to comprehend them, right? This is going into secret societies and stuff. I mean, there's symbols right in front of our faces. There's logos that have symbols on it. It's so deep, and it's right in front of our face, and that's the karmic energy of it. That's why we can see them as evil, but they're never punished. It's because they're not doing it behind our back. They're showing you, but yet you still follow. So it's their energetic karma is out of it. There's no foul on them. It's up to you to find out. If you don't find out, that's your fault. We're welcome here if you come to the other side. And the other side is a choice, a decision to see. But if you don't see, then you're in the mix of the illusion, which is fine, because now you're just a cattle in the game. And that's how they see us. They see us as cattle. And if you think a certain way and you're stuck in the matrix, then, you know, that's why they have zero empathy. They see you as an animal because you don't have the awakened intelligence to see. Like, what? I'm not intelligent. I didn't fucking go to Harvard. How do I find this out?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a normal person. I made a decision to follow it. I gave up fucking chasing tail. I gave up drinking on the weekends. I gave up all that shit at my prime. Why? I'm not scared of it. I know, I understand creation, that there's no energy in that for me, but I know if I want it, it's there. You know, it's here. It's creating. There's a lot, man. I mean, I stopped listening to music. I stopped watching TV. I stopped listening to other teachers. Got to the point where I didn't want to hear Alan Watts anymore. I don't want to hear Terrence McKenna. I want to find out my shit. I want to go deep in myself and find out. I don't need to hear someone else talk about something that they grasp and try to touch it with their words. Ain't going to happen. It's got to happen in my words, my mind. And if I don't do that work, then it ain't going to happen. I'm following. I don't want to be a follower. I don't want to be a seeker. I want to know. Because when I know, I stop seeking. All that energy I spent fucking doing all this other shit that was never taking me to the answer. Finally, I received it. And now it's like, I can move. Full energy. All energy focused. If you don't know energy and you don't know how to focus your energy and you don't know how to tap into your shit, oh, there's hope. But I mean, you're playing against masters of energy, masters that have been taught this for generations. You understand? It's not like, oh, they woke up and they've been working for 10 years and awakened. No, dude, like this is generational stuff. You know, once you get serious about it in that regard, you become a warrior. You start to see your opponent. You start to understand, okay, this is how I have to move. This is how serious I need to take it. I'm behind the ball, man. I have a family, you know, my family might get cancer one day. How am I going to help them? They're not set up. They're not going to do it. So what am I doing? Because I'm awakened. How do I not use this? And it's my responsibility. It's my duty. So what if I got to stay up all night? It's fucking an illusion, man. I just got to stay up. I got to do it. You know, it's that's where they are. And that's why they are where they are. So who are we to be like, oh, they're evil? Dude, maybe they just figured it out a long time ago and they got some knowledge that we just can't handle if we knew. If we knew, say that we're really prisoners in some giant game. Who knows what people would really do, right? That there would be chaos. And that's why they do what they do. So there's not chaos on the street. So really there's some form of enlightenment that they tapped into. albeit maybe the intention is different. Maybe the energy that they move with is different, right? That they really, let me put it this way. My true awakening and being able to navigate from one side of the table to the other didn't happen until I accepted my darkness and I tapped into the dark side, period. If you don't know how to tap into the dark side and use that energy to your advantage and turn that shit into light, then you're not a magician and you still got to understand and work with energy, right? Because you're in a game with a bunch of magicians. Mm-hmm. And like you said about the yin and yang, you know, that was one of the great things I used to look at too, because I had a tapestry with the yin and yang symbol. And I saw that they look like little fishes. And the fish, that's all white, you know, that's the light. He has darkness in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And the fish that is all dark actually has light in its eyes. So it sees light. So then I had attributed that to all the people that see light and want to spread the light and all this stuff. It's like, maybe they're the dark ones perpetuating a trap that they don't even understand. You see, so it was like all those levels of detachment. So that's the benefit of symbols too, because you attach your own meaning to it. But there's depth to it. There's many, many layers to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. The ability to create meaning for yourself is what makes symbols so wonderful and also so dangerous, because a lot of the times, you know, the symbols when symbols are given to you with the meaning in them, it stops you on some level. I think people who can see will always see. And I love your definition of look, maybe those dark people are the ones having the problem, try to spell the goddamn light everywhere. It's a great interpretation, man. I love that. But yeah, it's interesting too. And I also like the idea of the virus. I like this. I don't know what a symbol, maybe there's a symbol. Can you think of a symbol for a virus? I think of like the biohazard, but I'm not sure that's a good enough. Maybe there's another symbol for a virus on some level. But
for me, that the symbol, when I think about the virus, it's the mycelium that's spreading beneath all our leaves. It's the fact that I know this came from the stars and something landed on Earth and spread. What a virus. That's the invasion. People are looking for when are they going to come? They're right here, man. When are you going to tap into it?
Right.
They're already here. They've been here. They've been waiting for us. That was the biggest awakening when I had it. I felt, I went right to the balcony and I looked outside. The stars were beautifully and clear and I had tears running down my face because I felt them looking down. They were looking down, so happy, so grateful, saying, welcome to the family. We are so grateful that you've awakened to who you are.
I love that.
And then I didn't need to do CE5 anymore. I didn't need to try to meditate, to try to visualize and see something for my own validation. I knew I don't need validation. If you need validation, you're dead in the water because you're looking for someone to validate it. And then you're going to be manipulated. Find the way, go deep within, find the way, man, because it's there. Everyone's done it. All the teachers that you listen to, they did the work themselves. That's what I learned. And that's when I decided to stop listening to teachers. It was time for me to do the fucking work. And now that I did the work, now it's like, oh yeah, I am the one writing the books. Ego aside, it's just, dude, you want to get to the other side, do the work. And that's the whole thing. That's why they're like, that's the whole thing. But it's like, how do you do the work? Because for me, it was so hard. I wanted to do it. Like I wanted to be on this side, but I just couldn't do it. The mushroom helped me get out of my way. And that's why I'm here. If there's someone listening that's like, fuck, dude, I'm there, man. I want to do it, but I can't get to that side. I'm in my way. I'm in my own way. That's why I'm here. I'm just here to help people get out of their way. So so they can follow, not me, but follow the voice. I'm here to help them interpret and hear the voice. Because when they hear it and they get the confidence to follow and build a relationship with it, right? That's what microdosing is. Microdosing isn't just so, oh, I want to feel a little creativity. No, dude, you're supposed to go deep on the medicine, hear that fucking voice, and then you're supposed to microdose so you come in communion with that voice. That voice becomes ordinary consciousness. It becomes you. So when you speak you're speaking from the mushroom. You're speaking for the mushroom. You're speaking for the entity. You're speaking for the virus that's happening. You know? It's just a different thing. And then you mold in perfectly. What a perfect mass.
Mm.
When I say I, you think of me. I'm not speaking for me. Gabe doesn't care. Gabe just wants to be. Gabe wants happiness. A little by himself on some land. That's it. Gabe doesn't need anything else. But the mushroom's doing work. The mushroom's here on a mission. What that mission is, I'm not gonna pretend I know. Mm-hmm.
Change. I don't know the grand game either. I don't think you can know, but you can know that you have a fucking position to play.
Right.
You be welcome on the team when you're ready, right?
Right. And it's a funny thing because I got a reading. Someone gave me a free reading for I don't know, she's a psychic or something like that. And I'm very, detached from all of it. Open to all of it at the same time.
Sure.
But she was like, she's like, oh, you've been here many times. Like you have raw energy. You have energy of the sun god. Like you've lived thousands of lives here. Like your time's up here. And I have family who, I'll connect this whole circle. I have family who lives through experience. They need to experience. They need to hit their head against the wall to be able to learn. I didn't have to do that. I looked at those who understood around me and I tapped into it. And then I jumped in from there. I learn from my past. I learn from history. I learned from people who walked paths before. I didn't. So it's a very thing. I just tie that in because I'm not one who needs to experience over and over and over and over again to be like, okay, yeah, this is it. And then you forget again and you're like, wait, this is it. How much energy are you wasting? It's like, just fucking wake up and decide. Once you make a decision, life works for you, man. But you got to make the decision. A lot of people don't want to make the decision. They want to be able to, well, what if I'm wrong? So you already lost. You're done. And that's the hard thing. So if you don't control your mind, if you don't have mindfulness, if you don't intentionally use mindfulness, I didn't meditate just to meditate. I was meditating to get to a clarity in my mind. Mm-hmm. I was reprogramming my mind with affirmations every day. I was using all of my time to my advantage. And then lo and behold, it just happened. And then I realized, wow, that's the benefit of sharpening your axe. A lot of people are just running around with an axe, chopping down trees, and they're chopping a lot down. But then over time, it gets doled out. And they're like, what the hell's happening? They never learned how to go to work on their mind. I'm not talking about working out. It's much different. They haven't sharpened this so that there's awareness that's just lacked. And, unfortunately, when you walk that path, like for myself, when I was reprogramming my mind and really getting my mindfulness right, I didn't notice the benefits, the true benefits, until fucking years down the road, 10 years down the road. It didn't connect. Like, holy shit, that's why I walk this path. It at first it was like, yeah, it felt good. I would, feel connection with everything. That's cool. It would last for a little while, but still, I still had my thoughts. I still had the truths that were in me. Like, dude, you're not doing what you need to be doing, man. You're not at where you need to be at. You can do so much more. You're so much more valuable. You are meant for something great, but you got to find that, man. And so it helped me stay grounded, but I was always honest with myself. I always thought I was a dreamer and an optimist, but I learned with the mushroom how to be a realist, maybe even somewhat of a pessimist, because I'd rather be completely honest with myself and honest with the world around me instead of having false hope. Because once you're honest, then you can create a solution for what the fuck is happening. If not, you're all wishy-washy, and they want you to be that way. That's what I learned. But that's just my life experience, and that's why water is able to be walked on, because there is no outside thing that I'm trying to seek from. It's all there. but I just had the awareness to understand, damn, that's it. Like I knew what it was when I saw it. I knew what it was when I felt it. I knew that clarity because I knew the clarity from all the other things. And it was like, this took me way beyond. I was like, okay, now it's just time to integrate.
Yeah, when you talk about experience and family, sometimes when I like to look and see, and I feel very fortunate too to get to learn from my family on a lot of levels. And maybe that's part of DNA. Like maybe our parents, our family, whatever, our lineage has gone through all these things, and we get the benefit of all their experience, of them bumping their head up against the wall a million times. Maybe we are the great recipients of that language being the language of DNA that gets transmuted to us so that we get to be in a position where we do feel like or maybe we are, I hesitate to use the word awaken, but like you get to see things that they didn't see. And maybe instead of looking back and being upset with them, it can help you be grateful. Like, look, I am who I am because they made those mistakes. I am who I am because they're bumping their heads up against the wall.
Right.
And what does that mean? That means I need to go back and take care of them because they gave me the vision in order to be where I am today. And it kind of helps back to the grounding, right?
Absolutely. That's empathy. That's the understanding, right? That's exactly right. Right. Because now I see, once I got the awakening and I knew I would speak to family all the time, right? Trying to get them over to the side. But I realized my words didn't carry any weight. I had to show.
Yeah.
And how do you
Actions speak loud. Actions louder than words.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but people have to see it to believe it. And that's with this mushroom, right? Because like for myself, I heard Terrence McKenna speak like how I did, and there was a knowing inside. I felt it, and I didn't brush it off. I was open to it right away, right? I already, I wouldn't even say accepted it, but I was very much open to it, right? So it's tough, because sometimes when you know that you just want to save people time and you just want them to listen.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Exactly. So people you got to find out on yourself. But then that's the paradox of it, man. That's the great paradox. Because you're like, man, dude, because I use that family example because you talk and you share, and people got to see it to believe it. And even when they see it to believe it, they still think they can find it on their own, and they can. But as a medicine man, you can see where they're at in their way. Like me energetically, I can speak to someone and ask them the questions. Then I can see where they are. I can energetically see what's in their way and what needs to be done for them to get out of it. So it's like a very intuitive thing.
Do you think that's because they're a different version of you?
Absolutely. They're all me. I'm speaking to myself all the time. So that's the awakening of it. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the idea of the mirror. I think Carl Jung gets into that, where, you're looking in a mirror. And what's been really helpful to me, and maybe this will be helpful to some other people, is that I came to a point in my life where I was super mean. People that have heard my podcast are probably gonna be like, George, shut up with this story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway because it helps me. There's a guy at my work that used to be, and I was such a dick to him, and I was always mean to him. And one time, my other friend is like, "Why are you such an asshole to that guy?" And I'm like, "I'm not being an asshole. I'm just busting his balls, man. That's what you do." And like, "No, you're being a dick." I remember I came home that night, and I had a pretty deep journey that night, and I thought to myself, like, of course, you start asking yourself questions about who you are and what you're doing in your life. And is this right? And the question of why comes up all the time. And I thought to myself, why am I being an asshole? And it was like a 1-2 punch. The first one was like, you don't like him because he's weak. And then it was like, you're weak. You don't like him because you're weak. And I was like, holy shit. That guy is just reflecting back how weak I am. And I hate that. So I'm being mean to him. And I had to go apologize to him and be like, I am super weak and I'm super sorry for being an asshole, man. You didn't deserve any of that. The guy was really nice about it. He accepted my apology. He's like, yeah, you've always been a fucking pussy. He was super funny in a way, like,
Right.
you know, and I loved it. And I still do to this moment. I think about how grateful it is. But if people can see the people in their life as a mirror, and the things that may be very uncomfortable for you are the things that are brought up to you. And it's something you need to work on. Whenever someone pisses you off in a way, it's probably something that you need to work on. That's the world showing you need to work on this thing. And when you begin to understand it, it not only helps your relationships with those other people, but it helps you navigate the world in a way more effective and efficient way. And you can begin seeing, call it the logos, call it the voice, call it a mirror, call it nature, call it whatever you want to, but you begin to understand the environment in a way that you didn't before. Like, hey, there's this thing I got to work on. Hey, thanks for showing me that. And on the flip side, when you see things in other people you really admire, that's a calling of something. Hey, that's something calling to you. That's inside you, man. That thing you love, that's inside you. Nurture that, you know?
Right.
But it's interesting to think about it from that level. Can you share an experience where maybe you had an experience being out and whether you're getting a download or whether you find yourself learning something in the recent 6 months or a year, man? What is something that's really profoundly changed you in the last year?
Well, what profoundly changed me and what I meditate on is might get a little emotional speaking about it, but I have there's a good friend who so the path of the warrior is a very lonely path. And all the friends that I've had, I've somehow pushed out of my life. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm here to find my family. And the family are the ones that the mushroom speaks to. And there was a journeyer who I journeyed with, beautiful being. And he was on this journey of awakening with the medicine, like truly going deep into it, truly wanting authentically to find what this thing is, because he heard the voice and he was very much came from a dogmatic background of thinking Christ was a mythical being and Christ is everything, right? So beautiful thing. So the energy, I couldn't get in his mind to comprehend what he meant, because I just saw him as a man. Like I see Christ. I saw exactly. So we were walking this journey together, and he ended up passing randomly about 2 weeks ago. And we were about to have a journey together. And I intuitively knew that this was going to be the breakthrough for him. Like I felt it. And one of the last things he said was, man, I just want to be pure love. I just want to be pure love, man. And that's what he is now. So that's probably been the most profound thing that stuck with me, because that's helped me truly empathize with everyone around me. Understanding that everyone's on their own journey, not to judge anyone for the journey they're on.
Right.
Just to be there as a conduit and to focus on myself so I can be that energy of love with the intention, whatever purpose I choose to carry out, in whatever form that means. It's just, and he left behind a beautiful family too. I got to have dinner with his family before he went. And I don't have friends. I don't make friends. I don't go out of my way to go have dinner with people. I don't do that stuff. I see a lot of that as a waste of energy. I'm focused. But I opened myself up to him, and he ended up passing. And a lot of my great friends pass. which is it's the way of the warrior, but that was a very impactful man.
Tough one.
Yeah, man. One that I respected.
Sure.
And I come from a family that I love, but no men who I truly respected. Not even my father, because they all followed instead of creating and tapping into themselves. They all believed something else instead of walking the path, figuring it out, making it happen. And this is one who did that. He's very extremely successful, ran out like he was a fund manager, someone I looked up to. And the mirror, as much as I looked up to him, he looked up to me.
Yeah.
So it's like what he had, I wanted. What I had, he wanted. Man. So I'm grateful for those interactions, because after the passing of my best friend, I really learned how to deal with death to my advantage. Death doesn't ruin me. It makes me. And I'm grateful for every being who has crossed paths with me in this lifetime, because I have the awareness to pull some knowledge from each one and to utilize it, to listen, and to see the alignment and the messaging and all of it, and to take that shit seriously. So now it's I'm on a mission, man. It's a lonely mission. I don't know when it's going to be completed, but I gave myself up to it to make this mission happen. I know down the road I'm going to run into the others.
Yeah.
Run into the family, I'll one day have a family of my own, but I don't think about any of it because it's not time. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But yeah, man, that was the most impactful for sure. That's still raw too,
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that, man. What was your friend's name, if you don't mind me asking?
His name was Ben.
Ben.
Yeah.
A strong name, man.
Yeah. Arkansas boy.
Yeah. Ben's just impacted all of us, man. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for creating this platform, for letting me share.
Yeah, man. I'm stoked that you did it, man. I think that there's a lot of people out there right now that they're trying to find their way. Same way you and I are trying to find our way. And I think that, the people's voice resonates, and every story is like his own mythology. We're getting to learn the mythology of Gabriel today in a way, and the mythology of George at the same time, man. Like we're like a couple guys that found ourselves on a path, and we're taking a break, trading some more stories, man.
Right.
It's pretty awesome, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, Gabriel, I'm stoked, man. I really enjoyed the conversation today. And I love getting deep in conversations and challenging each other, and then coming to this place where we're like, yeah, there's no this. And then all of a sudden finding this common ground, man. I love it, man. And I'm so thankful to get to see. I think you found the others, brother. I think you found the others, man. I think you're talking to them. I think that, if we use the metaphor of the mirror, it's just we're looking at different versions of ourselves. And
Absolutely.
I'm thankful that you're helping people. And I'm thankful that you have the courage to stand up for what you believe in, regardless of what anybody says or thinks or does. And on some level, I'm glad that everybody turned their back on you, because that shaped you, man. And there's other people out there who are in the midst. Maybe there's still people that are going to turn their back on them. Yeah, they still want to believe, but those people are going to get their back turned on them. So our stories are probably some of the most important things we have. And when we share the most important things we have with other people, man, we make the world better. And that's what's going on here today, man. But before I let you go there, where can people find you? What do you have coming up? What are you excited about?
Yeah, man. You guys can definitely find me at www.finallydetached.com. right now in the creation of some new stuff, new retreat that's happening. Have a bunch of books that you can find as well on finallydetached.com just to help.
Oh, I think I lost you right there, man. Maybe his power went out right there. But yeah, he's got several books out there that if people are interested, you may want to check out. You can check them out on Finally Detached. It's an interesting conversation, you know, and I do think that a lot of people out there right now are looking for ways or looking for a path to walk. And, you know, sometimes the path is lonely. And you as an individual. Oh, he's back.
I'm back. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
See, yeah, you guys can find me at www.finallydetached.com. Have some books that you guys can find there. Just created some new courses called Holistic Cash Flow, where I kind of teach people how to navigate the finances and understanding the spirituality of it and how to literally create something from nothing. Because a lot of people are in this path now where they want to be able to create their idea and make that a reality and turn that into actual income that costs $0 to generate, you know? So doing that, yeah, man, I'm here. Created some land as well. We have our retreat building out in North Carolina. That's going to be the Church of the Sacred Spores land. That's our plant medicine church. And it was created when my best friend passed. I made an oath that I would create a place for people can go to before they decide to make that decision. And that's kind of what I want to turn that into, just to be able to give that away for those at the end and have the medicine available and kind of give them the opportunity to find something deeper and to connect with a family that I didn't have. So I want to create the place where the family can be built. So then people don't have to waste time seeking. They have found a home. Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful, man. I love it. Hopefully I'm going to get out there one day. Check
Absolutely.
out I would love that, man. That'd be cool to come out there
man.
and sit down and look you dead in the eye, give you a hug, man, and trade some more stories, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love that, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too, man. All right. Well, hang on briefly afterwards. I'll talk to you afterwards. But to everybody hanging out today, thank you so much. Ben, Clint, Simeon, everybody out there, man. I really appreciate you. Dr. New, Todd, David, Mr. Goldfinger. I see you guys out there. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I hope everybody has a beautiful day. 2024 is going to be a real powerful year. And I want everyone to know that, look, man, do the work, become the best version of yourself, and then turn around and help the next person up. That's what we got for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a beautiful day. Aloha.